even you know how hypocritical you're sounding now, because you're not allowed to wear two different kinds of thread.
No.
You're blaspheming.
Not at all.
Well, mate, you just are. You just like the bit that hurts the gays, but you're happy to ignore the rest of it. Why do you think that is?
Can I say to you,
no,
James,
you can answer my question. Why do you pick the bit out of all of these books that discriminates against homosexuals, but you ignore all of the rest of it?
There's some laws that were done away with at the cross, but the moral law of liberty, the 10 Commandments...
I'm going to ask you for the final time, why do you choose to obey the bit that harms gay people while ignoring the rest of it?
It doesn't harm them. They're harming themselves because they're violating the principles of God.
And there it is, but you're definitely not homophobic.
James O'Brien has just put his caller in a very uncomfortable position. If you're going to use scripture to decide how other people should live, can you simply ignore the parts that don't suit you? That question turns this conversation into a fascinating clash over faith, consistency and homosexuality, and as James keeps pushing, things get increasingly tense.
Not at all.
Well, mate, you just are. You just like the bit that hurts the gays, but you're happy to ignore the rest of it. Why do you think that is?
Can I say to you,
no,
James,
you can answer my question. Why do you pick the bit out of all of these books that discriminates against homosexuals, but you ignore all of the rest of it?
We're taking things out of context. God has given the mandate, the outline for a biblical marriage, and that is for man and woman. If there are two men and they say that they love God, that's fine. They can do what they want. But they should not come and tell and dictate to Christians how they should live their life. And even
but they are Christians.
No, what do I say?
But you're dictating to those Christians how they should live their life.
No.
Yeah, you are.
The Bible is the authority and the rules.
God is the authority and the rules.
And how did he communicate to us then?
Well, he sent Jesus, who told us to ignore the Old Testament.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
Oh, please, James.
Gay people having blessings in church, how are they going to get hurt?
Because if the church condones what they're doing, they're not sticking to the mandate.
But the church does condone it.
Yes. No. What do you not understand what I'm saying?
No, I haven't got a clue. I think that makes two of us. So the church does condone. The Archbishop of Canterbury and the Synod have just said that it's fine.
Right. Okay. So what I'm saying is.
So the church does condone it?
No. He's not going with a biblical mandate, though, James.
But he's the Archbishop of Canterbury.
He is not the authority of God.
But he is. In the Anglican community, he's the head honcho. Well, I suppose technically it's King Charles.
He thinks he is, but he's not, because he's perverting the scriptures.
So you know better than he does?
No, I don't know. The scriptures knows.
Which scriptures?
This is what it is. The Bible.
Which bit?
From Genesis to Revelation, all is truth. God's revelation to mankind.
But that never says anything about homosexuality.
Are you being real? In the book of Leviticus, in the book of Deuteronomy, it talks about men laying with men.
But Leviticus also talks about burning a bull on the altar as a sacrifice because the odour would please the Lord.
Oh.
And it says you can sell your daughter into slavery, doesn't it, in Exodus?
Okay, then. So what was the first mandate that God gave to mankind? What was the first thing he said?
I'm afraid I'm going to pull you back to Leviticus and Exodus, mate, because you just cited them. Do you still think it's okay to sell your daughter into slavery?
No, not at all.
Well, why are you picking and choosing then?
No. It's about what God has set in order.
That's Exodus 21:7, mate. You know that as well as I do.
Yeah.
It is okay to sell your daughter into slavery. What would be a fair price, do you think, in this day and age?
No. James, what we've got to understand, I said, you've got to get things in its context.
I am. The context is the book of Exodus and the book of Leviticus, which you just cited as your justification for what I describe as homophobia. So I'm just wondering why you pick that bit and yet you ignore the other bits. Are you allowed contact with a woman while she is in her period of menstrual uncleanliness, Clive?
Yeah.
No, you're not, mate. That's Leviticus 15:19 to 24.
Again, James, you are taking things out of context.
No, I'm reading it out of the Bible.
You want to bring it back to men and men.
I'm bringing it back to Leviticus, which is what you just told me to do. So how can you tell whether or not a woman is in her period of menstrual uncleanliness?
Okay, all right then. So
and how close to it are you allowed to be?
Sure, okay. James, okay then. So
you're going to have to answer some of my questions at least at one point. So let's start with the slavery. Is it okay to sell my daughter into slavery?
No, it's not.
But it says in Leviticus that it is, Exodus that it is.
No, this was what mankind was doing because there was situation and circumstance.
But mankind was also lying with man, and you said that was bad.
Yeah, absolutely.
So why
James,
is that bad, but selling your daughter into slavery is not acceptable?
What we have to get back is to God's ideal.
No, mate,
now,
what you
is,
have to do is tell me how I can tell which bits of the Old Testament you think we should...
Can I give you an example?
No, you can answer my questions. No,
yes, I'm going to.
No, I said no.
With an example.
No, you can't give me an example. You need to tell me which bits of Leviticus you choose to obey and which bits you don't.
That was never God's plan.
Yeah,
God
you're still just going to talk. You can't answer any of these questions.
Yeah, but I'm giving you a context here, so you
my
can
next
understand.
Right. I don't know if you're familiar with Sangeeta Maiska, who presents a program on this radio station on Sunday.
Yes, I've heard.
So that is the Sabbath day. Sangeeta presents on the Sabbath day.
No, she doesn't. She doesn't present on the Sabbath. What day is that?
Saturday and Sunday she presents.
Okay, sure, yes. Saturday's the Sabbath, yes. Go ahead.
Exodus 35:2 clearly states that she should be put to death.
Why?
Because she's working on the Sabbath, mate.
Oh, no.
It's in Exodus. You just told me to read it.
No. I didn't tell you to read Exodus.
You told me to. You just said Genesis to Revelation. I suggested that the Old Testament had been superseded by the Sermon on the Mount. You said it hadn't. You told me to go back to Leviticus when you were trying to justify your homophobia. I've gone to Exodus. Do I have to kill Sangeeta Maiska for the sin of working on the Sabbath? Yes or no? It's a simple question.
No, you don't. So,
well, why not? Because the Bible tells me to. You're handing down the law on homosexuality, so you must know the stuff about this. Is Leviticus 25:44. I may indeed possess slaves, provided they are purchased from neighbouring nations. So would that include Wales, or would I have to go all the way to France?
If that's what the scripture says, then that's so.
Okay, so slavery's a good thing. Slavery's allowed then, for you as a good Christian. Do you have any slaves?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I explained to you, James.
Do you have your hair? Can I ask you to describe your current hairstyle to me?
It's bald.
Right, so you've trimmed it around the temples.
Around the temples?
Yeah, you've trimmed your hair around the temples.
Yeah.
Well, that's expressly forbidden by Leviticus 19:27. I have to kill you now.
No, not at all.
Yes, this is all in your book, mate.
Again, as I said.
I haven't finished.
What
are you wearing?
You've got to get it in this context.
What are you wearing at the moment, Clive?
I'm wearing one robe with all one thread.
And what colour? No, you're not, though, are you? Because even you know how hypocritical you're sounding now, because you're not allowed to wear two different kinds of thread.
No.
You're blaspheming.
Not at all.
Well, mate, you just are. You just like the bit that hurts the gays, but you're happy to ignore the rest of it. Why do you think that is?
Can I say to you,
no,
James,
you can answer my question. Why do you pick the bit out of all of these books that discriminates against homosexuals, but you ignore all of the rest of it?
There's some laws that were done away with at the cross, but the moral law of liberty, the 10 Commandments...
I'm going to ask you for the final time, why do you choose to obey the bit that harms gay people while ignoring the rest of it?
It doesn't harm them. They're harming themselves because they're violating the principles of God.
And there it is, but you're definitely not homophobic.
They're absolutely not.
Okay, mate.
What made this exchange so compelling wasn't simply the disagreement over homosexuality or religion, it was the question of consistency. James O'Brien repeatedly challenged Clive to explain why certain passages from the Bible should still determine how gay people live, while other teachings from those same scriptures are no longer followed today. From slavery and working on the Sabbath to clothing and other biblical rules, James kept coming back to one central question. Who decides which teachings still apply and which ones can be ignored? Clive argued that context matters and maintained that his position wasn't homophobic. But the tension reached another level when he claimed that gay people harm themselves. In the end, this wasn't just a debate about religion or homosexuality. It became a much bigger argument about interpretation, consistency, and what happens when deeply held beliefs are challenged under pressure. Now I want to hear what you think. Did James expose a contradiction in Clive's argument, or do you think Clive had a point that James overlooked? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoy heated conversations and some of the biggest clashes in British political debate, like the video, subscribe to UK Debate Breakdown, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one.